Okay. Welcome back, everybody, to another
Already
edition
distracted.
of the Whiskey Gingers podcast. I'm Brandon. He's Chris, and we're taking another stab at cocktails this week because it's been almost probably over a year since we did our cocktail special last, and we've done a lot of whiskeys just on their own. We're kind of stalling a little bit until we can get back into the Proof and Wood whiskeys in the new year. So this felt like the perfect time to try. I believe it's called an Elf Sour.
Elf's Maple Sour.
Elf's Maple Sour.
It's kind of in the name, the whole spiel behind it. But yes, we don't typically do cocktails on the show, but we figured this close to the holiday season could be something a little fun to spice it up a bit and see where we're at. So currently off screen, we have a little bit of prep work going on for that. But I can introduce what we're going to be using for the highlight of this, which is the bourbon that we're going to be using. So this is Northbound Bourbon Whiskey. So Northbound is actually the name of a restaurant that's local to our area. It's in Lansdale, Pennsylvania. And this is distilled at a distillery called the Boardroom Spirits LLC in Lansdale. So they distill it there and then they use it at this Northbound company, but I'm pretty sure that they're just owned by the same people essentially.
Boardroom's actually, you didn't tell me they were Boardroom. They're pretty big.
Are they really?
In PA.
Yeah, gotcha. I had no idea. Maybe I'm just late to that knowledge, but
They have a restaurant up the street.
Oh, okay. So, well, that works out. So at least it's close to home in both regards then.
Yeah.
So close to home for Brandon, close to home for me. I think it's a pretty cool whiskey. I have actually had some of Northbound's whiskey before, and the whiskey was pretty good. I don't know if it was this one in particular. I think it's kind of the same thing as like Bluebird, how they have more than one type of whiskey there.
Yeah. Okay.
So it could have a lot to do with that. Pardon the dogs in the background. They're apparently having a fun time back there. So I'm going to open this up because I'm just curious.
What ties in even more with the holiday theme. You can't quite see it on the bottle when we showed you because camera quality and whatnot. But it's in a train station and the bottle is train themed. Trains obviously have some sort of a connection to the holidays. I do believe that made it infinitely worse, Chris. But you think of the holiday, think of people putting trains around their trees and stuff, and whiskey's train themed. So even more. You left me high and dry.
I really like that parallel that you drew there because I didn't know where you were going at first with that. And I'm really glad that that's where it went. You missed a golden opportunity. You could have been like, yeah, Trains, Christmas, Polar Express, widely popular movie. What Tom Hanks? Tom Hanks, I think, is the main voice in that.
I had somebody over the weekend tell me that like the Polar Express scared them.
Scared them?
They were.
Yeah, it's not Snowpiercer. It's not like you're stuck on a train for the rest of your life.
They said the clay faces like freaked them out.
Oh, maybe. I mean, that just sounds like they're afraid of animation styles more than anything.
I think it was just a little too ominous for me.
It was a little too ominous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Hanks scares me sometimes too.
Yeah.
What can you say?
Chet Hanks scares me. If you're not familiar, take a look.
So other than that, we're just getting our last couple ingredients ready here. Do we want to jump through the ingredients? As far as I know, we have bourbon involved in this. We have lemon juice, ginger ale, and a little bit of maple syrup garnished with a lemon over ice. So that's kind of the gist of what we're going to be doing here.
Does this feel at all tropical for you for a holiday drink?
It's a maple sour.
I think the only thing tropical about it to me is the lemon juice.
I guess that's what it is, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe it tastes that way. I think it's probably going to be pretty refreshing. With ginger ale, you kind of can't go wrong. I mean, we both like whiskey with ginger ale just as a standard mixer. If I'm going to put anything in my whiskey, I would do that. I mean, I don't do that too often these days. Yeah, I don't do it too often these days, but that kind of works out there. So what I think we should do is I'm going to top our glasses off with a little bit of ice so that way we're ready.
All right. And I think we need shaky ice, too.
Yep.
Oh, well, as Chris leaves me on screen solo yet again, I knew this was going to happen when we were. He's like, "Oh, let's do the episode while we prep the drinks. This will be perfectly fine."
No, it is perfectly fine. It gives you a view in the day in the life of whiskey podcasters.
Yeah, leave your co-host high and dry twice in the first 5 minutes.
Yep, that's just the way that we do it around here.
All right, so then I think we're ready to start building here.
You want to pop your fork?
Yeah. Well, I think the
Can you guys wait
bourbon.
till I leave for that.
So we're gonna go ahead and get this guy going.
Would have been a great one. I think it.
I hit this a little bit. That's okay. This smells very good. So, what was the ratio that we're going with here? What does it recommend?
we got to build this on screen here.
Yeah, let's build it on. So we got a glass full of ice,
You need an ounce and a half of bourbon.
ounce and a half of bourbon.
Now this is per drink, right? So we have to make this twice. Okay.
This is technically 2, isn't it?
I don't think
No.
we didn't double the recipe after all.
We didn't no, I doubled your ingredients off screen.
Okay.
You need to
Yeah, but
pour-
this is typically 2 ounces.
Well, I hope not, because then I over measured everything. So
So let's go heavy.
Yeah.
there you go. Why don't you just start with
For the audience at home, Chris has already been wrong once about shot glass volumes, so I wouldn't take his word on this.
It's a heck of a lot easier to measure by just pouring it into the glass.
Yeah.
Or using the trusted fingers method.
Mhm.
All right, this is right in. This is going to be probably not ideal to fit in this.
It's
And
gonna
this
be a
is maple
little
syrup.
full, but we're gonna get through it.
no, and now you're going to
Then I shake this, pour it in, and then
and then
do
you're gonna
ginger
top it.
on top. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I'm not a bartender.
Well, pretend you're in the weeds.
Yeah. All right. So let's try this
That's
out.
2.
It's not one shot. I'll put it that
All
way.
right, let's do this.
That's 2.
That's that.
probably good.
So
Yeah.
we get to make 2 of these tonight.
Okay, that's fine. Anybody out there a state trooper by any chance?
Hopefully not.
No, give me a call. I'm gonna need an alibi.
And then we just top the rest
Maybe a
of this
lawyer?
with ginger ale, I believe, is the key. All right.
It looks good.
It doesn't look bad at all.
No, I
That's
was
very
skeptical about the
refreshing.
syrup because it's so thick, but
Cool.
it might have worked out.
And then technically, there's a little bit of a lemon garnish that goes on to this as well, which we can do. But it looks pretty darn good. I
Yeah.
can't complain about the looks. In the looks department, I'd say I give it a solid 8 out of 10.
Yeah. I
How's our garnish going on over there?
Come on, bar back.
This is we're dying here.
Yeah, people are lining up out here.
This is why we don't do cocktails
Yeah.
on the show, because when we do whiskey, all we got to do is just pour it on. Look at that. Oh, it's beautiful.
What's the thing you gotta do? You're supposed to like
Well, for old fashions, you have to, what is it,
yeah,
espresso it?
Yeah, espresso.
Chris likes to just rub it on the rim of his.
You have to do that too because it gets the flavor on the glass. Well, I'm dying to try this because I think it should be
If it's
quite
not
an
good,
eye-opening experience.
Guess whose fault? It's not.
Not your
Not
fault.
Not my fault.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, pinkies out.
Cheers.
Pretty good.
That is good.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a sour because obviously it's got the lime in it,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time too, it just is kind of refreshing, and you only get the maple on the back end. It's like a
Yeah.
little subtle maple flavor
It's,
from the syrup.
it's really good. I stand after drinking it. I stand by that. I don't think of winter when I'm drinking this.
Mm.
This would be phenomenal when it's warm outside.
Mhm.
Like by a pool, I'd knock down a ton of these.
Oh yeah.
I don't think of this as like, cozying up in front of a fire or anything.
I won't tell that to the girl who said it's her favorite holiday.
What's
Man,
really
Hey,
scary.
4th of July drink. That's a holiday.
The only weird thing
Labor
about
Day.
it, the only weird thing about it to me, I know like mixers in general are usually designed to disguise the alcohol that's in there.
I
This
get-
doesn't taste like whiskey
I get no whiskey.
at all.
Can I taste that?
Literally at all.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe it could use more whiskey, but I felt like that ratio, we put a lot of whiskey in to everything else.
You figure when you pour it, you figure what, 2 shots?
Yeah, it was 2 shots of whiskey to basically 1 shot of the juice and then the ginger ale. So, I mean, I guess that's pretty normal
So it's
for a
1 part
mixed drink.
whiskey, 2
Yeah.
parts mixer.
Actually, that's
Half and
really
half.
good.
It's delicious.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. I mean, this is way better than our last attempt at cocktails.
Which was one?
We did old
The smoked
fashions.
old-fashioned, but I almost blew my
No,
hair off.
that was the first one, and then the
Oh, this
second
is our
you
third
guys
time at
made-
cocktails.
You guys made the Manhattan. You made an old
Oh.
fashioned, and then you made a sour. You made 3 drinks that day.
So this is our 4th mixed drink.
Okay.
If you consider an old fashioned a mixed drink, that's kind of a loose
Yeah.
mixed
And it
drink.
was a mixture, but it was a cocktail.
Yeah.
It is a
That's
cocktail.
weird.
Absolutely. No, I like it
This is-
actually.
this is the best.
It's
part,
good. I
far
wouldn't
away.
I wouldn't drink it all the time because I like the taste of the whiskey. Like I'm gonna have to pour a shot of this to taste just like a sip of it to taste what the whiskey itself tastes like because you're not getting any of that coming through in this cocktail.
I tend to agree because I mean this is fantastic, and this accomplishes the purpose that we set out for today because we wanted
Yeah.
to try and make a really good cocktail.
Mhm.
Our producer did, but I have no idea how North. Hold on. I think
I'm getting your sipper glass.
Oh, perfect.
um,
Beautiful.
I have no idea how Northbound tastes.
Well, now we're gonna find out. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna figure that out because this is honestly very delicious. But I would like to know how it kind of stands on its own as well.
Uh,
So,
We
and
owe
just,
it to the people.
just a refresher for anybody tuning in: we are doing the Northbound Bourbon Whiskey. This is from Lansdale, Pennsylvania, and we made it at first with a little cocktail that we found for the holidays, just to get in the holiday spirit. And we're gonna try it straight to enjoy it the way that we would normally on the show, because that's what this podcast is all about: is enjoying good whiskey. So we're gonna try just a little swig of it and see how we like it, as well as the cocktail. I feel like it's a zoo in here right now. Every animal in the household is being
Oh, I'm
vocal.
sorry. Can I have some?
Yes,
No.
I'm guarding it closely.
Jeez.
Doesn't really matter what
Yeah.
it is.
And as always, viewers, please watch Brandon's face first when he drinks his
Yeah.
whiskey, so you can truly know how he feels about it.
It's all in the face.
It really is.
Cheers.
I'll tell you what. That's the perfect drink for that.
You think so?
That's
I
a
do.
good whiskey for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's recommended with a bourbon, but to your point, I actually feel like this bourbon specifically goes well with it because it does have a lot of flavor. So,
But it's
with
not
that being the
smoky.
case, it's not smoky. No.
This would be weird if you got
If you
some
had
kinda
the
like
smoke.
oaky, like wood. It wouldn't fit
Yeah.
the rest of the drink.
Or
This
would it
is
break
perfect.
out more of the maple? Would it play on the maple syrup and make it better? You could really split the rim on
Yeah,
that.
I think if the maple came through more on its own, I'd be on your side.
Yeah.
If the citrus hit so hard, it'd be like an oaky I think that part. This
Mhm.
is, but you also couldn't have. We've had some more watery bourbons, and with how much that masks the alcohol already, you couldn't go any thinner.
This is actually a pretty quality bourbon on its own. Like
Yeah.
just drinking it on its own, it's really good.
Hi, Lola.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have a special guest star commenting in. We appreciate the shout out. Hope you're enjoying the show.
The official apparel brand of the whiskey gingers,
Who's that?
Lola's.
Oh.
We're gonna get sponsored
Mhm.
by Lola's. But other than that, I think that's actually delicious,
It's really
and
good. Both are really good.
I think so. What do you think? Are you? I mean, I feel like I would say the same thing that you're gonna say. What's your preference if you had to pick between just the Northbound or this drink, or is it a time and place thing?
I think I would prefer the drink, and that's not a knock on Northbound. In fact, like I said, it's a very good whiskey, bourbon. Pardon me. But we've had better bourbons, I think,
Mhm.
and I'll put it this way: it's a bourbon I wouldn't mind mixing.
Sure.
Like we've had some where I feel wrong about hiding the flavor. This one, I wouldn't mind putting in a mixture.
Well, people say that kind of thing all the time, and it's like you think about Evan Williams. Evan Williams is kind of the poster child for a bourbon that I would mix.
Oh God, yeah.
it's you
Yeah.
know, it's on the label. It's a bourbon, and you know it is in fact a bourbon. It's just
So
I don't feel bad about mixing it because it's kind of just your. I don't want to say bottom of the barrel because that
like
sounds
12
really
yeah, it's
rude.
like 12 bucks.
It sounds really rude because it does stand enough on its own that it's not like horrible,
Mhm.
but I would definitely prefer to put it in a mixer. You could dress it up with like an old fashioned or a Manhattan
Yeah.
or something and be totally fine with that.
It's,
But
Evan Williams, I think, would be on the upper end of well whiskeys.
Hmm.
Like if I'm at a bar and they're like, "Oh, just a shot of your well whiskey," and it's Evan Williams, I'd be pretty stoked about that. Because typically, I mean, it is like and it's like old rag water.
Yeah.
So I'd be down with everyone for that.
To answer a question we have coming in, we do have a whiskey. It's Northbound Bourbon Whiskey. It's from Lansdale, Pennsylvania. We did make it into a cocktail, and the cocktail does have the bourbon in it, lime juice, maple syrup, lemon juice, maple syrup, and that's pretty much it.
And ginger ale.
And ginger ale. I'm gonna forget every single time. I need like a check like cheat sheet to
Brandon
look
just
into it.
stopped Chris mid-sentence, and Chris had to compute.
I know my brain turned off.
Wait.
It was about as bad as me walking away from the
Me
screen
going off
for
on
you.
trains.
Which I never picked you as a train guy, Brandon. That wasn't what I was thinking.
Speaking of walking away from screens, Brandon, I have a question.
Okay.
Have you actually taken a look at the Christmas tree in person so that you can weigh in on the dual colored lights on the
No,
Christmas tree from last episode?
Oh yeah, you were pretty against.
I was, but I told both of you that I actually loved the way you executed it.
Yeah, well, you know what?
I texted one of you two
It
that.
was me. I Snapchat.
Yeah, I definitely. I will own my mistakes.
Yeah.
You guys did it well.
It's in the finesse of the execution is what
That was
what
all
does it.
Chris.
Yeah, I think in my head I had 2 zones,
Mm,
and blended it was fine. I was envisioning white up top, multicolor at the bottom, which would have been grotesque.
that's only for psychopaths that
Yeah.
could do that.
Well, that's why I was concerned initially.
Amazing. Well, speaking of, I feel like the topic of today's episode is trains because we've gotten into
It is.
trains.
Okay.
That's what it's going to be into now. Would you ever take a cross country train
100%.
trip? 100%.
Absolutely. If it was somewhat affordable, I would do it in heartbeat.
Would you do it if Tom Hanks was dressed up as a Christmas conductor?
I'd pay more. Absolutely.
Okay.
I would pay more. I need Tom Hanks as a Christmas conductor. I need 2 like awkward overweight engineers, and I need
Its itinerary is the North Pole.
Yeah, I need a lake frosted over.
Amazing.
Then I'm in. But no, it looks so fun. I've seen a couple where it might not be cross country, but it's been like like New York up to like northern Canada. I think would be cool.
Yeah.
You could. I think what's the one? There's one on the West Coast where it goes like up the coastline, up to the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, that'd be neat. Yeah.
I just think it's such a cool way to see the country and not have to obviously drive. Still get all the views. The shitty part would be the sleeping because you got to pay
a good amount of money to get like a good sized room. I feel like if you even consider it a room. I mean, if you're on a sleepaway train, you're gonna have some place to sleep.
Oh,
But the question is going to be how comfortable that's going to be. I mean,
on those trains is still a seat.
is it really?
Yeah.
You just like pass out? I guess it
Yeah.
depends on how long you're going to be on it. If you're only on it for like 24 hours, I guess that doesn't really matter. But if you're going to be on it for a couple days, I feel like that'd be a hard sell.
Yeah, because I looked in. I got kind of bored one day, and I followed a guy who did he like traveled those routes, and he did it at all different levels. And the bottom level was coach. Now, I mean, I think there's something with those trains where your seats go just about completely horizontal, but I mean, you're still sleeping next to in some cases a complete stranger.
We have a question coming in.
We have several, and for one, look, we can't repeat the episode because Candy Crush popped up. Sorry.
From Lola's, we have a question. So you're both bourbon lovers, Chris. I know you're going to be at a wedding this weekend, which is true. What bourbon would you expect the wedding venue to have? And that's a fair question. I mean, most wedding venues in general, I don't know if their stock of bourbon is typically that great.
I've seen mostly Jack or Makers.
Yeah.
What I've seen probably in the last year.
You can pretty much always guarantee Jameson's going to be at a venue. I know that's not a bourbon.
Yeah.
It's Irish whiskey, but just whiskeys in general. You can pretty much always count on being able to get Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, Jameson. I feel like those 3 are always a given. If you're starting to get anything more than that, you're probably right. Makers is probably up there for something that they're going to keep if they're going to have something that's a little bit more niche.
Yeah, I mean, it's still like pretty.
It's like very standardized
yeah.
whiskey at this point, but I think that you'd be expecting to see something like that. I'd be really shocked to see them have any other high-end stuff. Like, I don't think that most of these venues are going to keep a lot of Scotch around.
No, like Scotch.
And if they do, maybe it's Johnny Walker.
That's
So,
maybe
yeah.
if you're gonna have a token Scotch, it's kind of Walker, but I haven't seen that too much. Typically, it's like you said, it's an Irish whiskey. It's a mixing bourbon, and it's a neat bourbon. Is what I tend
Yeah.
to see.
And if I mean, I would love to see a wedding venue where the people, maybe like the couple is really into whiskey and they decide they're going to have like a whiskey experience there. I've seen a bunch of stuff at weddings. People have had cigar bars at their
Yeah.
venues and stuff like that. So if they're going to be doing that, then I mean, that'd be great.
I saw a TikTok on one I want to get your opinion on. It was a BYO wedding for the liquor side of things. Now, like they still had a bar that provided like the essentials,
Mhm.
but you could also bring your own bottle for the bartenders to do with what you wanted. So like,
Oh, that's kind of cool.
yeah, like if we were, which we will be, then the next calendar year, if we were going to a wedding for like a close friend or something, we
Mhm.
could do like bourbon.
Yeah.
We could bring Eagle Rare and make sure that all of, the groom's drinks are Eagle Rare or something like. Do you think that's tacky to ask people to bring anything to a wedding, or do you think it's a cool opportunity for people to drink what they like?
I think it's kind of both in a weird
Yeah.
way. Like, yeah, I like the ability to have what I'd like to drink at a wedding. Could I survive? Not. I think that the trick is it's gonna split the room, and people are gonna be like, well, if I'm bringing something that I want to drink, like a bottle like that, they're not getting as much money from me in their card at the end of it. And it's like, yeah. I think that being it's an option, who really cares? You know, like
you're not responsible for the bar. You can just add to it.
yeah, I think that that's cool. I mean, it'd be tricky because if you bought like a good bourbon that you felt good about, it can't be put it on the bar and anybody that comes up gets it, because at that point it's going to go in 5 minutes. You're going to put an expensive bourbon on there, and somebody who's never had whiskey before is going to be like, I want to try that.
Oh my god! Can you imagine you walk by and see somebody making like a Jack and Coke with Eagle Rare or with like black? I'd throw a punch.
It'd be pretty bad. People do that though. They
I'm
have
sure.
to. Somebody like goes to a bar, yeah, I'll have a Blanton's and Coke. Excuse me?
You should get that drink thrown right in your face.
Excuse me?
All right, well, continuing, since I guess we're taking suggestions now.
Mhm.
To answer your question, Lolas. For me, I feel like I've definitely mentioned on this pod a couple times. If I can't get, bourbon, it's not a bourbon I don't like enough not to drink it. But if I can't get a bourbon or a whiskey in general, I would probably go for a higher end tequila.
Mm.
Yeah,
you definitely gravitate towards those if you don't have whiskey available. They tend to be a little rough for me still. I mean, I know there's a whole world of tequila out there.
Yeah.
I'm just not well versed enough on them to make that decision if I really want to do it. I wouldn't even know what to ask for. I wouldn't know what to ask for. You know what I mean? If I went up to a bar and I even looked at a list, that's, I'm sure, how a lot of people are with whiskeys and everything too. You just see it and you're like, maybe I'll go for the highest price tag. But that can definitely get you in trouble too, because there's a lot of the times we've proven it on the show that the highest price whiskey isn't always the best bang for your buck there, or isn't the best tasting. So
I think the one I've had on a budget, not on a budget, but what would be like pretty readily available is if you can get like an ice cold Espolón. God, I mean, it's a tequila that goes down pretty much like water if you get it cold enough. The tequila warm is tough. I mean, tequila warm is brutal, but if you get like an ice cold bottle of especially Espolón, that goes down extremely easy.
That does it for you.
Yeah.
I feel like your whiskey you like ice cold too, though. So I mean,
can't drink.
That might
I will
just
not
be a
drink
personal.
anything warm.
That might be a personal preference over anything.
Yeah, you will not catch me drinking anything room temp or warm. Like not, especially not liquor. I think it hits. It's definitely mental. It hits me 100 times harder.
You think so?
Yes.
Well, sure. I don't especially like in the summertime, having something cold is refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, just taking a shot of warm whiskey in the summer doesn't really sound like a very fun time. That doesn't sound too enticing. But to be fair, I still drink whiskey straight in the summer, but usually it's like a bottle that's in my house, not in the heat and whatever.
So, I mean, it's definitely the proper way to do it, and you experience everything the whiskey has to offer. That might be why I don't like it. Like I think whiskey cold for me is it numbs it just enough to where I enjoy it. I think when I've had whiskey warms a little. When I've had bourbon warm, it's too much burn.
It's like a campfire in your mouth for you.
Yeah, it's just it's not it for me. That's why I'll never review a whiskey neat, because it wouldn't be fair. I wouldn't like it.
Well, we said too in the past, and this is a thing, that they say a little bit of water from either ice or water itself in your whiskey opens up some of the flavors. So that's why people put like branch water in their bourbon.
Yeah.
So
You guys having another cocktail?
probably not.
Because I got to drive home. Unless you want to do a shot of lemon juice, in which case we're flipping the camera
Oh
around.
my god, yeah, that doesn't sound like a good idea. That'll be for making a face. If
That'll
you
get
do
the
that.
numbers up.
Maple syrup here too.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Well, maybe we'll
Shot.
make
the
another
glucose
off screen.
buttons.
You could make one for yourself.
That's like some Buddy the Elf shit, like doing a straight shot of maple syrup.
A straight shot of maple
Hey,
syrup.
speaking of the holidays,
Yep, all the best holiday movies.
while we're talking about it, what are your top 5 holiday movies?
We just watched one of them the other day, Jingle All the Way with Arnold
I
Schwarzenegger.
haven't seen it.
Are you
What?
serious? Oh, it's so good.
What?
You have to watch it. I love it. I love it so much because I enjoy watching Arnold Schwarzenegger in any movie where he's not blowing stuff up. I still love those movies too.
Yeah, I mean, let's
But
be
just
honest
seeing
here.
him removed from like a character that he's basically born to be is really funny. Like in Jingle All the Way, he's a dad who's like a business guy that just doesn't have enough time for his kid around Christmas time, forgets to
Well, yeah,
buy
he's
his kid
too
a
busy
toy,
terminating things.
gets too busy to buy this toy, and then goes on a wild goose chase for the whole movie trying
On
to find the
Christmas
toy
Eve.
on
Okay.
Christmas Eve.
Okay.
It's absolutely hysterical, but like it's so out of character for him
Yeah.
that it's really enjoyable to watch.
It's like Vin Diesel in the pacifier.
Yes.
Exactly. That's probably in my top 3 for sure.
Okay. Well, what's your top 5?
I don't know if
The
I
anecdote.
Yeah, that was when I bought Chris Love Jingle Away.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have like a full 5 that I could list. I'm not a big like holiday movie person to begin with.
Both you people are screwed.
Okay,
I know about you
tell
at least.
I
At
can tell you.
least you're honest.
Home Alone, Santa Claus,
Great.
Die Hard.
Tim Allen.
fantastic. I actually have to say Jingle All the Way is definitely one of them. The Grinch and Elf.
Okay.
And the Grinch, I like the Jim Carrey one. So like the
See-
classic, newer,
Mhm.
like 2003, obviously was Elf, and then later on was the Grinch with Jim Carrey. But I really like the classics of Home Alone,
Yeah.
Jingle All the Way, and Santa Claus. And I do like the sequels of the Santa Claus movies.
Mhm.
Most
All
of them are
them.
good. Yeah.
Christmas Chronicles are great.
See, she doesn't even like Christmas, and she has a full 5.
Scrooge
I-
McDuck Warrior.
I enjoy every single one of those. It just I don't know. They don't hold a place in my movie library
I'm not
in my brain.
Yeah, they're not cinematic masterpieces. They're fun.
They're Christomatic masterpieces.
Oh, wow.
Let that silence hang there for a minute. I agree.
Even the dogs don't like it. What about you? Do you have a discernible top 5?
Tough. Like it's tough to make a top 5. Like, I love Christmas. We actually just watched probably the newest one that cracks my top 5 is The Night Before. It's with Seth Rogen, Mindy Kaling. It's like a raunchy Christmas movie, which is kind of different and fun.
Bad Santa.
Bad
Yeah,
Santa,
Bad
another good
Santa.
one. What's it called? Tim Allen, Santa Claus, one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Christmas with the Cranks with Danny DeVito is
Mhm.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That scene where the 2 daughters are up on stage and who's your daddy? Oh God, I'm your daddy. That one. Elf is a classic. Polar Express. I've watched every Christmas since it came out. God, I'm trying to think what else. Home Alone.
I think you're at more than 5.
But it's hard to
What
cut
about
it
the
off.
Jack Frost movie though?
I don't know if I've seen that one.
You probably.
I've seen the animated Grinch. The
I-
live action
That's
Grinch is
that's
crazy.
with Michael Keaton.
Oh.
The Jack Frost one where he's like the snowman.
I just watched Beetlejuice for the first time like a month ago.
You
Like the original one?
disgust me, honestly. With how much you haven't
Did you watch the
seen.
original one, or
Yeah.
did you watch the new one
The
that came
original.
out?
Wait, can
Yeah.
you just refresh my memory? Were you born before or after 9/11?
Before
Okay, but like just before, right?
I was
98.
yeah.
Okay, then you probably wouldn't have seen most of the movies that like we saw.
No, that's not true.
I mean, I've gone back and watched
DVDs and stuff existed when he was growing
most
up.
of
It's
the
not
movies
as if
that
they
we
weren't
watched
there.
when we were younger were still on VHS tape.
Oh yeah,
That's
we had-
true.
And then they started on Blu-ray, and those were too expensive to buy.
So, what's your take on The Nightmare Before Christmas? Is it a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie, or does it live
Halloween.
in both places?
So much of it, it's like 85% Halloween with like a dash of Christmas.
Yeah, but like 70% of the movie is based in Christmas spirit. Like literally, only the first probably 20 minutes is in Halloween Town, and then the last bit is in Halloween
Yeah,
Town.
but
the rest of the
overarching theme
movie
how
is-
to ruin Christmas.
But it's all about Christmas.
It's all about ruining Christmas.
You're gonna lose it when it's a holiday movie.
Yeah, this is about. I have as much of a ground to stand on between you two as I do saying that snow doesn't smell like when it's going to snow outside.
That one.
I'm not rehashing that
No,
argument
but-
because clearly you guys
I think we
both feel
should.
very strongly
I
about
think
that.
next time there's an episode after it snows, we should.
I saw the night before Christmas. I wasn't a fan.
No,
Miracle on 30.
I liked it.
Great.
Yeah.
That one's great. The original Rudolph, like the old original Rudolph, fantastic.
What did we
what's the
watch?
other- There's another old Christmas movie that I'm
We did a
watching. It's not
drinking.
Miracle,
We did a
it's,
drinking game
oh,
or something.
No one said Christmas Vacation.
Oh
A
yeah,
Christmas Story.
yeah.
I do like A Christmas Story, but it's not my top 5. I
What-
can watch it, but I'm like, nah.
What was the movie that we did
Overrated.
a drinking game with Christmas movies? Me and Keely. It was we were watching like all the original animation ones. We were watching Rudolph was one of them.
It was the
But-
original Rudolph.
Yeah, we made a drinking game for Rudolph somehow, and it was like anytime somebody makes fun of his nose or whatever, he would take it. We looked one up online, and it was absolutely ridiculous.
A lot of the Christmas Carol movies are really good too. Like all of the 60s, 70s, 80s versions of like A Christmas Carol, where it's like all about the guy being like Scrooge,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, we had some old. I mean, we had a ton of VHSs when I was a kid. I remember watching some Christmas movies that were still in black and white. The Life.
This movie, 1984.
Die Hard
Yeah.
is technically a Christmas
It
movie.
is. It
The
counts.
highest box office on Christmas. Yep.
Die Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Something I think just broke that recently.
Well-
No, as a Christmas movie. Like
Yeah.
it was released on Christmas Day.
hmm
What else would? I can't
Well, it would have
forget.
been last year, I guess, but
No shit, Chris. Thanks.
I'm pretty sure something broke it
I don't
in
think
recent
a
years.
Blockbuster came out this Christmas. Speaking of Blockbuster, you don't really good movies anymore. I know you love.
I
like
love movies, yeah.
You guys didn't see Wicked, did you?
No.
Mhm.
So good. It's too fucking long. Like they spend an hour of that movie just on like high school drama or whatever. And the last hour is the actual game, but it's fantastic. And the girl, I shouldn't say the girl, the woman they get to play. God, what the hell's the not
Glenda?
no, not the one, but the other one.
I don't know.
Shit, that's good. Alphabet.
Oh, well,
She's like 37 in real life, and they
Yeah.
make her look 20. It's unbelievable.
she's bald. She
Oh.
had, yeah, she shaves her head. It's cool.
Yeah.
There's no evidence that another movie outgrossed Die Hard on Christmas.
Well, maybe somebody's got the shot this year.
No, movies are getting
No.
worse.
Movies are getting
They're getting
worse.
way
It's all the same thing, just like different people.
Yeah,
It's all regurgitated.
It's just rehashed. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we just use the same adjective 3 times different ways, so I think it's time to end this.
I was going to say, in case anybody wants a thesaurus for the rest of the podcast, maybe we should stop.
Yeah, I mean, I'm forgetting everything. We're gonna call it a day.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys very much for joining us for this episode of the Whiskey Gingers podcast, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Merry Christmas, by the way. This is our holiday episode.
It's Happy Holidays, Brandon.
Yeah. Peace.
How dare you say Christmas?
Merry Christmas.
Brought you here first.
Mhm.
See you guys.